I wrote some songs. I went to my friend Dave's big studio in a big fat room and recorded drums. I'm going to show you the video, walk through. I brought my drums, my preamps, and my microphones, and we used some of his gear. I'm going to walk you through all of that, and right now I'm going to show you the tracks. Okay, I'm going to walk through each mic, the whole 9 yards, what they're going through and all that. So this is my Tama Artstar 2 kit that usually see me in my small home recording studio. Today I'm in a very big room. So I'm working on 3 songs that I wrote, and I hired a professional drummer, so a studio drummer. So let's go through it. Tama Artstar 2, vintage from the 80s. Inside the kick is my Yamaha MZ204. Outside the kick, about 5 inches, is my vintage Neumann FET 47. Snare top, I changed this up a bit. I put my Beta 98. It's a very small microphone. Snare bottom is a Shure SM57. Both toms, the tom and the floor tom, are vintage Sennheiser U5s. I got my Neumann KM84 for hi-hat. On the overhead, I have a stereo AKG 422, and that's about 42.5 inches over the kit. Now, I got 4 room mics set up. In front of the kick, about 4.5 feet, I have a Coles 4033, and 10 feet in front of the kit, I have a stereo pair, left and right, of vintage Neumann U87s, and they're set to Omni. So that's one there, and then 8.5 feet across is another vintage Neumann U87. So that's the stereo room. Left and right is Neumann. The center room is, and also acting as another kick mic, 14 inches off the ground, is the Coles ribbon mic. And then back here behind the kit, I have a Veracoustic, and that's sort of about snare level, just capturing behind the drummer there. So this is the way it looks. All right, so now we are going through these snakes. I got it going through my wall over there into, we are hitting 2-inch tape, but first let's go through my preamps that I brought here. So this is kick in, snare top, my vintage Neve 1064s. Then on my vintage API 312s, I have hi-hat, the mono room, which is the Coles, the tom, the floor tom, stereo overhead left and right. And then over here, I have, this is kick out and snare bottom. And then the 2 Neumann U87s, I didn't bring mine because they have them here at the studio. I got a pair of Neve 1272s. And then the Veracoustic is another Neve, I believe, that I set up. And it's all going to this 2-inch tape machine. I brought a brand new fresh roll of tape because I'm writing my own songs and I wanted to start fresh with a fresh roll. So that is it for right now. I have 14 tracks of drums. The rest, the faders are lowered. I have kick in, kick out, snare top, snare bottom, tom, floor tom, stereo overhead left and right, hats, mono room, stereo room. So right now, this is just plugins. And I don't have a lot. If you look, I just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plugins on it. And most of them, if you look, here's the Renaissance EQ. I am literally just high passing. All right? And that is my hi-hat mic. And let's look at my overheads. And if you look at what I'm doing here, again, I'm just high passing and then I'm pulling out 4 dB of around 400. And then my kick and snare, there's my kick. I have, that's my inside kick. Here's my snare. I have the SSL plugins on kick and snare, the SSL channel. And what else I got? On the stereo room mic here, I have another EQ, and all I'm doing is high passing just a little bit on 6 dB octave below 60 hertz and pulling out a little 200 and boosting just a tad bit of top end, and that's it. Besides that, I am coming through bussing. If you see, I have a sends here. I'm bussing through and I am hitting the SSL compressor very lightly, and I have another track where I have the Valhalla reverb dialed in. I cut the high because I don't want it too bright, and I cut some low. Everything below 130 is cut out because I don't want that big woof that the kick drum would cause in that reverb. Okay, so on the kick and snare, I have the distressors, kick and snare. Also, I have an EQ. These vintage API 550s originals, kick and snare. For the toms, and that's inside kick and snare top. Inside kick, snare top. Nothing on the outside kick and nothing on the snare bottom. I always like to leave those natural. No compression, no EQ. Just microphone and preamp. Now, the DBX 160s, this is the rack tom and this is the floor tom, and it really came out good. Didn't use the DBX 162 for anything. The overheads left and right, I have the germaniums, and what's great about these is they have their own built-in parallel wet dry, and I have it pretty much all the way to dry. Not all the way, but let's say 70%. So that's the stereo left and right, and I have these stereo linked as well. Alright, now the fatso I have across the stereo room left and right, which was the U87s, and then the API 2500 I have on the drum mix, a drum bus, along with these hand-wired 550As. And I'm just pulling out just a little bit of 4 and boosting a little bit of 100.